Hello and welcome to Tech Terrain. Good to have you with us as always. I am Tony Ndoro. Now our focus in this particular episode will be on the adoption of technology in agriculture on the African continent. Now, as we all know, there are barriers when it comes to the adoption of technology. We'll talk about all of that, and we've got fantastic guests lined up for you. Let's bring you that lineup. We kick off the show with strategist Juanita Foster, sharing amazing information on potential resistance in the implementation of new technology. Dr. Sfiso Ntobela shares his insights on the reasons for adopting technology and how risks are mitigated. You can also look forward to a showcase of the smartest tractor ever, the impressive John Deere 8R. So please go on to our website for bonus material that we will upload on a weekly basis. But right now, let's start this episode of Tech Terrain. Now, I want to talk about those who may not want to adopt new technology and how they can actually get to do so. With me to do that is a strategist and business owner and someone who believes in making business simple. Juanita Foster joins me now. Are you well?
I am well. Thanks very much for having me.
No, great. Thanks for taking the time for joining us. Let's talk about the adoption of technology. Are people scared of the unknown, especially in the farming context?
Yes, not only in the farming context, but yes, and especially when it comes to technology. And it's a misconception that it's a choice. People don't necessarily choose to be scared. They don't choose to be resistant to adopting new things. Yeah. If we look at it in three factors or from three angles. First, your psychology, the way that you were created, your personality type. 75% of the world's personality types are highly resistant to change. They've got no choice. That's just how they were made. And only 25% of the world's personality types are okay with things changing. And then you look at the sociology aspect of it, the environment you move in, your family, your friends, etc. If groups of people are used to doing things one way, the moment someone tries to change it, group pressure goes and says, no, change back to the way we are used to doing things. So you're not only facing pressure from inside yourself, you're facing pressure from outside of yourself. And then if you decide, well, I want to change in any case, then your brain is against you. Because from a neurobiological aspect, the brain doesn't like to expend energy. It wants to keep things really calm, really chill, and it likes habitual behaviors. Yeah. So the moment you try and do something new, it takes an incredible amount of energy. So the brain goes, no, I want to go back to the way things were. So being resistant to change really isn't a choice. Yeah. It is who we are. It's who we were created to be. Humans were created to adapt to change over time, but they were definitely not created to like change.
And I would suppose that the trick is, we all get comfortable. We're in this fantastic comfort zone. This is how we've always done it. And the trick is to get don't let yourself be forced to change, because that makes it more difficult, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if you force anyone to do something they don't want to do, don't see the reasoning behind, it's going to be really difficult. But here's the problem with adopting that mindset in terms of adopting technology in business. You don't have a choice anymore. Mm-hmm. You had a choice 20 years ago, and then you kind of had a choice over the past 10 years. But if we look at the speed of change of technology, that choice is being taken away from all of us. So the only choice we do have isn't if, but when and how.
Yep, when and how. All of this, are we talking about technology here? Are we talking about the mindset? How do you put those two things together, especially when it comes to this particular context?
Yeah, so technology is never the solution. Mindset is the solution. Technology is never the problem. Mindset is the problem. We've now explored a little bit why we are resistant to change, why we've got these mindsets. And before you adopt any technology, it's not a purchasing decision. It's not, am I going to buy X piece of machinery? Am I going to...
So what are you saying? You're saying to me, don't buy this piece of machinery grudgingly. You must buy into what the machine can do for you.
You must be sure of what you really want to do and how machinery is going to help you get there. Mm-hmm. So if you are not convinced of your dream, if you don't know where you want to go, either in life or in business, it's going to be really hard for you to spend money on and to use the machinery you spent money on, to use that effectively. So you might make all the right purchasing decisions, mm-hmm. but if you didn't make the right purpose decision, it's always going to be a grudge. Even if it's not a grudge purchase, it's going to be a grudge use. So the better thing to do is to work a little bit more on the mindset, saying, how much do I want this?
Yeah.
And how am I going to use machinery to help me get to where I'm planning to go?
I introduced you as someone who strives to make business simpler. There's all this technology and all this new way of doing things. Is that making our lives simpler? Is that making the way we do business simpler, really?
It can. But it once again starts with a choice. So what technology enables us to do is in very complex systems. It helps us to get data in a lot quicker, process that data a lot quicker, and give us a bunch of insights that can help us make decisions a lot quicker. And the moment you know which decisions to make, you can say, well, this is my complex business. Let's break it down to the smallest little pieces and let me start making a range of decisions that can help me get to the next point. And technology absolutely can help you make those decisions a lot quicker.
So Juanita, I can be sitting there and say, listen, I've been farming mealies or whatever it may be for the last 20 years. What I've done has always worked. I just want to stick to it. What do you say to a guy like me then?
That's absolutely fine if you kind of want to stop farming in the next 10 years. If you look at the latest trend reports, at the predictions of food demand, water demand, energy demand, population growth, etc., predicted for 2030 and up to 2050, the way we feed people and the way we farm and what we farm with, etc., that's all going to change. Not because farmers make the choice to, not because technology is evolving, but because society is evolving and the rate of population and the migration of population is moving so much. So if you're in this game of farming as your business, you have no choice but to adapt to your customers. The customers are going to adapt. And if you want to do farming, not as a hobby, but as a business, you're going to have to adapt to your customers.
In your consulting work, are you finding maybe your older generation is, I suppose, I would assume guys like us are a little bit more resistant to change, and a lot of it, like you're saying, is being pushed by these youngsters. Look at Africa's population. Over 60% of Africa's population is basically youth. That's really forcing a lot of people to change the way they do things, isn't it?
I like the conversation about generations in these decisions, because as much as we can say the older people don't want to, we can say the younger people don't know. So the conversation we need to have is not who's right and who's wrong, but how can we actually get over ourselves a little bit and bring the young and the older together and see how can we use the wisdom from the past, the value from the past, plonk it into the technology of the future and make something incredible together. But you've got to have respect for both, and both has to have respect for what the other can bring to the table, with communication right in the middle to start saying, how can we communicate better so we can get the best from each other? So it's not about me or you, but about the future sustainability of this business.
Juanita, I'll call you to my operation. What's the first thing you look at as a farmer?
So in any business, and I see farming as a business as well, I will look at the 4 fundamentals of winning in this new game of business. And the first one is being exceptional. And you must use technology to be absolutely exceptional in the products you offer, in the services you offer, and how you offer them to your customers. The second one is to be an absolutely great place to work. So you've got to make sure that you're an employer of choice, that you allow your people that work for you growth opportunities, employment opportunities, and even learning new technology skills so that they are better skilled to help you and to help them grow as well. The third one is to always be on the lookout for new business, to always win new business, to always go and find those new customers, because it's very easy to get wrapped up in the work that needs to be done rather than go looking for the new project that will be, you know, the next customer, the next project. And then the fourth one is to have everyone in the business, in the farm, understand their contribution to the bottom line. What I am doing today, whether it's milking a cow, whether it's loading the tractor, whether it's, you know, getting the chicken, feeding the chickens, whatever it is, what is my contribution to the bottom line? Because if you've got profit in a business, you can put that back into the business and you can become sustainable. You can keep on surviving. So about those 4 things: use technology to be exceptional, be a great place to work, always look for the new customer, for new business and growth opportunities, and keep a focus on the bottom line and let everyone understand that it's being part of a sustainable, profitable business.
All right, fantastic stuff. Juanita Foster, they're talking about change and also how farmers need to look at themselves and ask themselves why they're in this business, because the world is changing, so don't get left behind. That's what she says. We're talking tech when it comes to agriculture and the adoption of new technology in this particular sector. And to speak to me about that, I've got Dr. Sifiso Ntombela, who's from the National Agricultural Marketing Council in South Africa. Doctor, good to have you with us. Are you well?
I'm well, thank you. I hope you're well.
I'm still breathing, thank goodness. Let's talk about technology now. Farmers throughout the continent are some of the early adopters of technology. Why is this the case?
You will understand that farming is about sustaining livelihood. So for the very end, so long as you have human beings, farming has always existed, and it basically developed over time. And now, as we understood, we are in the fourth industrial revolution. The first one was actually in the farming when we went with the agrarian reform and adopted the new technologies that even preserve seeds. So there's a whole long list in history in agriculture being basically the global players and the leaders in technology adoption.
Talking about that type of adoption in terms of technology, where do you see it sitting mostly? What sort of things are the farmers picking up? Let's start with commercial farmers. What sort of technology are they picking up the most at the moment?
Perhaps maybe if you want to understand the technology absorption in the South African context, it's important to also maybe start acknowledging the fact that you have a dualistic nature in agriculture, where you have really big, well-resourced, skillful agricultural producers, which are mainly commercial.
Yeah.
And we have millions of the small and medium farmers that are basically upcoming and joining the agricultural sector. And to a large extent, that's a function of our historic laws that is well known about it. But having said that, I think over the last years, we've seen this promising and increasing convergence between the two worlds of our agricultural economies has been in the past decade. And our commercial farmers basically are doing really well where they're adopting this technology. Now, today, if I can give you just some of the example, 10 years ago, if you were sitting here and you're telling me that a farmer can be able to harvest strawberries with a machine, it will be a dream, but today you can be able to achieve that through technology adoption. So farmers have really invested in that and showing that agriculture can be driven through technology, increasing efficiency and reducing cost into that.
Now, Doc, is there resistance at all to some of the technology, the new technology that we have? And if so, where is this resistance coming from?
I think, again, linking it up with that dualistic nature, I'm not so certain whether it's a more of a resistance, and it cut across not only in South Africa, even in the region and within SACCO and within the rest of the continent, is that it's maybe an information and awareness issue where we just have to educate our emerging farmers not to understand it. But when you're looking within the agriculture, because it's also a very distinct and a different sector, the guys that are operating mainly in the fruits and the vegetable, because they play in the global market, you see them adopting technology much faster than the farmers that are within maybe on your livestock, because maybe livestock traditionally has been kept by farmers who are not educated in keeping animals for wealth reasons or other cultural related reasons. But there is that increasing acknowledgement, even with the smallest, to say technology is the future, and if you adopt it quickly, you are better position to participate in the value chains.
We have to look at the environment, which is something nowadays we're very, wary of. Is farming moving along those lines, and is this technology also helping us to protect the environment a little better than we used to when it came to farming?
It's certainly one of the factors that is encouraging and incentivizing farmers to invest in technology is the change in climate, because it's changing the manner in which they use to produce their food. It's changing even the crops and the seed that they use to preserve, so that they start to appreciate the technology of it. Even managing some of the fields using technology like drones, so you can better manage your fields, your soil content and the land capability understanding. So climate change is probably a pull factor that we're seeing making farmers to adopt technology in South Africa, and in mainly countries like in the eastern part of the continent, like in Kenya, where they're really moving much faster. Even the smallest farmers, where they're even exchanging technology, using cell phone to exchange and interpret information that informs them to do the decision making on the farm. Yeah. And we're hoping that will precipitate down also to the southern part of the continent.
Are we seeing technology throughout the whole value chain when it comes to farming?
It is definitely going throughout the value chain part of it, where we not only just at the farm level, but also in tracking also the movement of goods and the logistic. And part of that also within the context now of agriculture and some of the livestock theft that tend to come in, where the farmers now using technology to reduce the stock theft, especially in the sheep industry. We've seen a lot of the farmers using the technology there, but also in the processing, which helps also with the processors there to be able to be compliant with market-related standard of food safety and tracking even the carbon emission that comes in with the food production, because all those things are increasingly being demanded by the consumer. When they look at the product, they want that all information to be encompassed within the product, and technology is assisting the farmers to basically repackage all that information for the producer.
So Doc, when most of us look at agriculture, or when many people look at agriculture, it's not, for young people nowadays, it's not a sexy industry. What's the sector doing to actually, shoes it up a little bit?
I'm really happy to actually ask that, because one of the things South Africa and the rest of the Africa, because it's a common factor, the biggest asset of these African countries is their youth. And almost 60% of the youth is involved in agriculture. But because agriculture is still in subsistence form and has not adopted the technology to be formalized, it really is not sexy, it's not attracting the young youth. They still see other sectors as it is. But what technology is basically doing is changing that perception and showing that you can actually use agriculture and combine it with technology to produce smarter, to produce actually even more efficient and produce best food, which is now starting to attract food. In nowadays, also with the COVID crisis and the fourth industrialization coming in, I can be able now to order food at the comfort of my home. And these are the new opportunities that are basically being presented to the youth, because we know youth are technologically smart. Yeah. And they'll be able to partner with the farmers to say, how do you change the traditional system of distributing food? And the youth basically has a lot of opportunity to learn there. So it talks to them and say, how do we channel our investment in terms of investing on the technology so that we domesticate it, but we also ensure that we improve training into our youth so that they can be able to take these opportunities and make capital easy to be accessed by the young people so that they can invest in some of this technology opportunity that exist in agriculture.
Now, you're coming from the National Agricultural Marketing Council, so you spoke about standards there, and agriculture, our agriculture on the continent is also competing with we're competing with China, we're competing with the US. As many, we know they got fantastic farmers over there. What standard are we competing on an international standard? Are we there?
Oh, well, I think this one I would be forgiven with my colleagues and my friends in the rest of the continent. South Africa has always been the leader within the continent itself. Yes. And I think as we see those investors coming into the continent, in China, even in Europeans, they still really much play a bigger role in the continent of Africa. But what we're seeing is that South Africa is playing a big broader role into the continent, where it's not only exporting the product to the African continent, but it's partnering with our farmers to say, how do we drive technology from the ground level so that we can also transfer the skill that we have through the seeds, through better management of fields, as well as complying with the standard, as you said, that it has moved from quality standard to even your environmental standard, so that you can keep our climate even clean and making sure that we produce in a climate smart agriculture. And all those things are basically incentivizing farmers to make sure that they make our customers happy.
All right, fantastic stuff. Lovely speaking with you, Dr. Sifiso Ntombela. Well, there you have it. Technology is making agriculture sexy. Well, stay with us. Still coming up, John Deere are here and we'll be talking about their smartest tractor in their stable. It's the mighty 8R.
They used to say it can never be done. That power could never be harnessed to such a degree. It has a mind of its own, and has always run free. What does it take to perfectly merge power and precision? A master at his skill. John Deere, believe in greater.
So we've been talking the adoption of technology throughout the continent and in South Africa in the program. It's now time to focus on a fantastic product that's coming out of John Deere. It is the new 8R. And to talk to me about just how fantastic this piece of kit is, I've got Lucas Groenewald and Rufus van Wyk from John Deere. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. Rufus, can I start with you first? And why is this the smartest tractor ever?
Yeah, Tony, thank you for the opportunity, and I think we're very excited about this new machine that we're launching this year. This machine is all about comfort, technology, and new machine forms, and we'll get a little bit into the detail there. But I think the important thing is that, and there's a lot of questions about how do operators take advantage of the technology, and what we have found is with this new technology in the 8Rs is that you are able to reprogram a lot of the technology in that machine so that it fits the skill of that operator. I'm thinking about if we talk about some of our transmission controls, it's one lever with 11 reconfigurable buttons on, which you can configure as per what the operator needs. Yeah, there's some other things like auto-track turn automation, which by a press of one button, you are able to down gear. It automates the revolutions for you. It actually picks up the implement at the end of the row. It will turn automatically, get the next row, put the implement back in the field, and then gear up again.
Yeah.
That's by one button.
That's
very
amazing.
operator friendly and comfortable.
So it's a really, really smart machine. That's what we're talking about here. Now, Lucas, no two farmers, of course, are the same. Their needs will differ. Why should I be looking at the 8R right now?
Thanks, Tony. Yeah, we are actually in the privileged position that we can offer a customer today 3 choices. We talk about, the normal old school wheel tractor, a 2-track tractor, and then the newest kit on the block, brand new technology that we are very excited about, and that's a new 4-track. It's the first time ever that a row crop tractor will be in that form, and we see it as a breakthrough. It's important to look at the customer soil preparation, and what exactly does a customer need on his farm. And I think we are in that position that we can offer a tailor-made solution to our customers, because it's all to do with speed of operation, about how fast people can get to the fields, do their preparation as well as their planting, because the planting window these days are so short. And I think research has proven that, the faster that a customer can get into the field, in the end, the more he will harvest and the more effective he will be in the end of the day.
And now we're also talking about the fact that with a choice comes or lies power. This is a very powerful machine, right? And so, Rufus, explain to us the practical uses of having such a powerful machine. What does it do ultimately for me on the ground as the farmer?
Yeah, I think I think one thing that I want to maybe just link up to what Lucas said is the machine form is getting to that choice. What is the right choice for me on the farm? And so what is a wheel tractor different than a trax tractor? And it all comes down to the type of soil that you have and the compaction and the footprint. So our tractors that we are launching now has got up to 39% larger footprint than a wheel tractor, and at about 28% less ground pressure, which in essence mean that you've got less soil compaction. Now this is all to do with agronomy and the root development of our crops, which in the end can give customers even a 30% higher yield due to that. Now, what is a wheel tractor today? We still see that this wheel tractor has still the highest resale value, so very popular. But then the two-track tractor has got less slippage because of its larger footprint. And now the new kid on the block, if I can call it like that, the industry exclusive 4-track tractor has now got a larger footprint than your 2-track, but it has the steering capability of a wheel tractor, and so that's all in one.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about training, because you're making this sound, this really sounds like a smart tractor here. Obviously, John Deere is offering exclusive enhanced training for anybody who may want to purchase this.
Yeah, I think it's very important with all this technology. Human capability needs to adapt to that, and I think we are in a very good position that we've got a company called Peritium, and they specialize in operator training. I must also say that it's really your more advanced operator that a farmer will put on those machines. So and I can promise you those guys are so intuitive, and that they will drive these machines in their sleep.
Okay, when are we going to see this land, this machine, the 8R?
Well, the first ones are being built as we are speaking right now, so we hope to see them early August, September.
Okay, now with such technology, Rukus, there has to be updates in the on the tractor as well. Is there something that you also offer in terms of whatever's on the actual, let's call it the motherboard? Yeah,
so I think what you're referring to is a little bit more of the technology
on the technology side, yes.
on the tractor, and so we have our tractors with JD Link fitted, meaning that our tractors are connected machines, and with this comes a lot of advantages and a lot of tools, even for our aftermarket, where we have our workshops being able to connect to these machines remotely.
Yeah.
So there's a remote display access where a technician can see what a customer sees on the screen, and he can make he can advise him basically on which buttons to press.
Okay, now Lucas, it sounds fantastic. Talk to us about the connected support technology. What is that?
Yes, again, this is something that we are very excited with. The past, a farmer will get a call from his driver telling us that the tractor is broken down. And now suddenly, it's a call to the workshop, getting the technician out. Today, the tractor is going to advise the workshop that it's going to break. Yes, can you believe it?
Oh, wow.
So the farmer will actually get a call from the workshop telling him that your tractor is going to break. And they will send the technician with the right parts in the meantime, so that we can fix the tractor before it's broken.
That's fantastic stuff. No more excuse for the farmer.
Yes.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Fantastic learning about this new 8R. It really sounds like a powerhouse. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, sadly, we've come to the end of this show. But if you missed anything, go online, go onto our website, techterrain.co.za. There's lots of bonus material there. We upload new stuff every single week, keeping you updated. Catch us next week, where we focus on climate change, the effects that it's having on the agriculture sector on the African continent. Bye-bye.